Happy Friday, light seekers and energy maneuverers. That's a new term that I've got for you, energy maneuverers. So, I want to talk today, like I always want to talk about energy. This is the mid August energy update. So, I want to talk about what we're seeing in the external, but I want to start with how what you experience in the external begins with whatever you have cultivated in the internal inside of you. And I know that is counterintuitive. I know that unfortunately we're never taught that in this 3D grid that we reside in. And therefore, we really don't know how to work with energy such that we create the external reality that we want to live in and want to participate in. But that is the task. And it can be very challenging depending on what your skill set is. I can speak for myself and say that I've been at this for many years. Many years I've been working with my own energy. And when I speak about energy, I'm talking about actual particles of energy that move and vibrate. That's what we're all composed of. That's what everything in the reality is composed of. So let's start there. Everything in this reality is just energy. Try and wrap your head around that. Everything in this reality is just energy. So, how the energy manifests for you personally is based on what you are thinking and feeling about the energy that you are in. Because what you think and what you feel molds the energy and creates a certain energy, it creates a certain vibration, it creates a certain experience. Um, and you create your reality based on all of that. It really is that simple. I know none of us are ever taught this or have this explained to us or broken down when we first get here, when we arrive into the 3D grid and we start creating our reality. We're given a whole bunch of programming that is absolutely the opposite of that because we're taught that everything external to us creates the reality, and we have to kind of get match ourselves to that external, get out there and work that external in order to be creating in the reality. And that's not true. That's backwards, and that's going to lead to a lot of frustration. And you know, because it's wrong. It's like trying to do something very difficult um, with with regard to how the laws of energy and frequency and thoughts and vibrations, how they actually work. So if you want to get out in the external 3D and then try to change it from the external by acting in the external, that's going to be really frustrating because that's backwards. But we are all dealing with this 3D external reality that we have all collectively co created, and it's getting pretty darn crazy out there, as we all know. Just all over the world right now, we're dealing with unrest. Things are blowing up. There are earthquakes, there are volcanoes. There's just a whole lot, too much stuff almost to even absorb within our mindset. And especially if you're of the mindset that I often am, that you need to take a break from mass media and the stories, because that's all programming. You need to take a break from mass media and the programming that it presents in order to get your own internal vibration right. So let's talk about what is happening in 3D right now and what's going to continue happening in 3D, because it is going to amp up and how we should respond to it. So, first off, let's talk about the fact that we have an election upcoming, and let's talk about what elections are. Elections in America, and probably anywhere in the world, are huge fear harvesting mechanisms. So, think of it like that, like this. There is something in the 3D power structure that is controlling it for the most part, that needs to eat. And what the 3D power system runs off of and what it needs to consume is fear-based energy, because our whole 3D system that is collapsing is based in that fear energy. And in order to keep itself up and running, it needs to create, to constantly create and produce that fear-based energy. And we're seeing right now in with the whole 5D grid establishing itself that people are vibrating out. They're just deciding that no, I don't want to play in this fear-based 3D lack scarcity energy. I don't want to play in that. And so that's changing things. That's part of the reason the 3D grid is crumbling. It's crumbling because it doesn't have the energy that it needs to sustain itself any longer. And that is causing the 3D power brokers, is what I'll call them for lack of a better term, because we could go down a whole lot of rabbit holes in the conspiracy theories and talk about what it is in 3D that keeps it so um, oppressed and in a fear-based lack scarcity frequency. We could go down all those rabbit holes and guess. But I don't want to get into that here. I just want to point it out that it is a entity or a group of people or a group of non-human entities that keeps um, that is very invested in keeping the structure in a fear-based lack scarcity paradigm. And as that structure begins to crumble, and as that group, that force loses power, it's getting increasingly desperate. And in that desperation, we're going to see a lot of things get thrown at us. It's going to get wilder. It's going to get crazier. So right now, a couple of things that we have thrown at us are the whole COVID-19 pandemic. That is an oppressive force that is just pressing down on everyone in the globe. People, tons of people, millions, maybe even billions of people are scared of contracting this disease that it, there's a lot of confusion and chaos. I mean, that's another thing that's just going on in 3D because it is breaking down a lot of confusion and chaos. So there's a lot of confusion and chaos around the whole COVID-19 concept. Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? Do you get a vaccine? Do you not get a vaccine? Do you go to social events? Do you not go to social events? And a lot of it is designed to distance and isolate people. And that is by design. So you've got, and part of that is finding a way to keep people in these fear-based frequencies. So we're all being confronted with this. So how do we respond? That is what you have to really get clear on within yourself, so that your internal creates an external that you're okay with. So internally, you have to really get clear on how you want to deal with this particular energy that 3D is throwing at you. This fear-based COVID-19 paradigm and all the programming contained within it. How do you want to respond to it? And we can see that people are responding in a whole lot of different ways. There are people who are fearless about it. They're going out, they're doing whatever they want to do, they're living their best life. We are, often told that, oh, this person did that and then they died. Those are the media stories that we get about that. And that too is by design. Again, it's messaging that reinforces the fear programming. So you need to decide how you are going to deal with and cope with this fear-based programming. I have decided within myself that I'm not going to give a lot, almost nearly any energy to anything that is fear-based. But even with that said, it's difficult because I always check out the news to see, well, what are the recommendations for when I go out in the world and do whatever I want to do? Are the recommendations that I need to wear a mask in this region where I'm located? I'm located in Virginia. Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And that will often take you down various rabbit holes. So when you see yourself going down a rabbit hole, be mindful, pull back, and decide how it is that you are going to vibrate energetically within yourself. Get clear. So I've gotten really clear that I'm not going to participate in any fear-based programs or paradigms. So I make a decision about whatever it is that I'm going to do, and I'm not going to be in a state of fear about it. So that's the work. for dealing with these collapsing 3D structures. So another thing that we've got coming up in 3D that's going to get really, really intense in America is our these elections in November. So elections, like I said, are fear harvesting systems, and let me tell you why. It's anybody who gets to that high on the political stage that they can run for U.S. president is very well versed in how to manipulate these lack and fear based, scarcity based paradigms. They're very skilled at it. And they know that they derive power from making people afraid. So you're never going to meet a politician. You'll never come across a politician that says, hey, guess what? I am going to make everything great and wonderful for everyone in the world. I'm going to bring about world peace. I am going to bring about abundance for all. I'm going to make sure that we have no barriers. I'm going to make sure that we're all working toward the best for mankind and the earth and nature and all of the living um, organisms on the planet. You're never going to hear that come up out of any of these political systems. And why is that? Because that's not what 3D is about. 3D is about division and fear and violence and war. That's the illusion that has been running for a very long time. We honestly have no idea how long this illusion has been running because almost everything that we get, all the information we get about this illusion right now is a lie. So it's very hard to discern what is true, what is not, um, what 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 actually happened in the past is up to so much debate. There are people who just want to, especially now with social media and people able to live in echo chambers, people want to create whatever kind of reality they want to create and they want to live there. And that's another thing that's causing the reality to break down is that people are not believing in a singular cohesive reality. More and more people are believing in whatever kind of reality they can construct, and it's causing what we call 3D reality to become unstable. So that's where we are with regard to that. So with this upcoming election, we've got you know the Democrats and the Republicans, a two-party system, and we're going to have these politicians making everyone very afraid in terms of projecting onto the other side. So you're going to be told that other side is going to make you unsafe. They're going to, you know, cause all kinds of pain and grief in your 3D reality. You have to vote against them. You have to do this and you have to do that. And it's really just more of the same type of 3D control that is fear based. So you have to decide now, how is it that you are going to respond to this, because it's just going to really begin to amp up and try to pull people into these whirlpools of fear. It's going to really, really amp up over the next few months as we head into the fall and to these elections actually occurring. So you have to get clear on where it is that you stand and what and how you're going to work with that energy, because it's very easy to get sucked into the divisiveness of that energy with regard to anything that you might personally believe in. We all have personal beliefs about what we think is right or wrong, and often these elections try to bring out just a lot of fear in with regard to what is happening in the external environment and is it right or wrong, and what are you going to do, how are you going to vote, because how you vote determines, you know, what the 3D reality is going to be and whether you are making the right choice or the wrong choice. You know, just all of this that comes up, and you have to decide. What's really important is for you to decide how you are going to respond. Where do you stand? How are you going to respond? That's very important because it determines how the 3D reality is going to present for you. And so, and the energy is moving quicker than it ever has before. So you have to get really clear on Do I want to vibrate in that space of fear, or do I want to vibrate in a space of love and peace? And once you make this decision based on whatever 3D reality is presenting to you, that's how the external 3D reality is going to present. So that's why it's so important for you to get clear. And when you get thrown some fearful 3D energy, instead of getting sucked into it, you have to um, figure out how to be the observer, be the neutral observer, and alchemize it and transmute it when you can. So, what do I mean by alchemize and transmute? I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was triggered over the elections because I was listening to a light worker that I enjoy, Lori Ladd. I really highly recommend her. She has a lot of good posts on how to transmute energy and how all of this ascension stuff works. Really, really great stuff. So she did this post on Donald Trump, and she said Donald Trump was a light worker. Now, that's not that unusual in light worker circles. She's not the first light worker to say that or believe that. And the way light workers explain it, they explain it usually from a place of neutrality. And I feel like Lori did that. And I didn't disagree with anything that she said. But if you're new to light work, if you don't quite understand what it is that we're doing when we talk about light work, you would take that, what her post was, as an endorsement for Donald Trump for president. And a lot of people that follow her on her feed did. And when I was reviewing the comments of people on that particular post, and the post just generated a tremendous amount of energy, more energy than Lori has ever had on any of her posts. So she does these posts a day, once a day, usually. Sometimes not that much, sometimes twice a week. She's much more prolific than I am. But she does these posts, and usually she'll get, between 100 and 500 comments because she's got a lot of followers. She gets a few comments, but for this post, she got like 5,000 comments. So a lot of energy. Just what she had to say about Donald Trump generated a lot of energy. And a lot of that energy was around showing support for Donald Trump as a president. And like I said, they took what she said as an endorsement of Donald Trump, which I don't think it was. But I found a lot of things that people were saying disturbing because a lot of the posts that were made, they were stating things that just weren't true, and they were ignoring, I felt, things that this president has done to people that has been really hurtful and really harmful. And so I thought, wow, these are the people who are supposed to be doing light work, and here they are endorsing things that I see as being harmful to other people. So that caused me concern. I was really disturbed by that because I was like, wow, I thought here we were um, working together as light workers, figuring out how to transmute dark energy. And the dark and collapsing energy of 3D. And I don't see that happening with this group of light workers. What I see instead is a sort of covering up of darkness and putting a politician on a pedestal that they don't necessarily belong on. Because I have always been very critical of all the politicians in the political systems because they're very 3D. They're very fear based, they're very lack and scarcity based, and they're extremely, extremely manipulative. So I'm of the mindset that nothing good comes out of those systems. But here we are, always asked to participate every 4 years on a massive level. We're asked to show up with our fear in these systems because we never are given anything good to vote on. It's always vote against these horrible things that will happen to you if you don't vote. And I used to want to participate in these systems because I'm like, well, I have to vote against that which I don't want to hurt me. But for the first time ever, I'm thinking about not participating in these systems because what kind of way is that to spend your energy? To say, I want to vote against horrible things happening to me. And a lot of times you do it and it really doesn't have the impact that you think it's going to have. So, and a lot of people are at this place where they're seriously questioning, should I participate in this fear based, this huge fear based kind of process? And they don't put the questions that way, but that's generally the gist behind it. Like, you're asking me to do something that doesn't ever really benefit me, so why should I do it? A lot of people are at that place. Um, so, with regard to Lori's post, what I decided for myself was I had to figure out where I stood. Like, I was shocked by a lot of what I was seeing that seemed to be untrue to me. And I'm like, wow, all these people are saying a lot of really untrue things. And my thing is, I stand for the truth. And I therefore want to say, you know what, that's not true. Here's what the truth is. That tends to be problematic because everyone has their own truth and you're not going to convince, and the truth has become so gray and so murky that you can have an issue and one person can be saying one thing about it, another person can be saying something that seems to be opposite about it, but they're both true. So, um, me even standing in my truth right now is tricky because, there are multiple sides to all kinds of things that are being presented. And that's the nature of just where 3D is at right now. It's chaotic, it's breaking down, it's presenting a lot of different illusions through a lot of different refracted lenses. So when you get into that whole quicksand of what is true and what is not, you get caught up in a whirlpool of fearful energy that really just isn't worth your time, quite honestly. So at first I was getting caught up in it. And then I pulled back and I was like, wait a minute. This is, the whole thing that Lori said about her post is that it was going to be, it's going to cause a lot of exercise of that duality, polarized consciousness. And the task is to see, hey, can I rise above this? Can I step back? Can I be the observer? Can I see why I'm being triggered in this way? And can I respond differently? So at first, I was going back and forth saying, you know what, this isn't true. I wish you wouldn't say that. I think that this, ignores what's happening to these people, and I think that's wrong. And then I was like, you know what? This is the truth for these people. They believe that there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with these actions. And so let me say that, I understand that you think that there's nothing wrong with these actions. And I don't judge you for that. I'm not going to get into that kind, because judgment is very fear based energy. I'm not going to get into that fear based energy. I'm just going to say that I feel differently. There are a lot of other people who feel differently. They do have valid reasons for how they feel. So maybe you'll listen to someone else's perspective. And in doing that, you can assist in healing the divide. And that was what was request. That's what Lori was requesting when she saw all of the comments, and I thought that was a really good way to handle it. I mean, I think that's what she talks a lot about on her channel. How do you deal with all of this very intense dark energy, and how do you make sure that you're not playing into the divide and the fear and the um, chaos? How do you do that? So you do that by being neutral, by standing back, by observing everything, not judging it, and deciding not to play in it. So that's what's really important in terms of getting clear on where you stand. with regard to your own energy. Get clear and stand in what is true for you, but do it as a neutral and a non judgmental force. Don't come in thinking that you're going to be able to change anyone's mind or sway the reality one way or the other. I think the reality, quite honestly, is so unstable right now. We have no idea what's going to happen with any of this. The reality is breaking down. It's very unstable. There's no way to tell how anything in that external reality is going to play out. I mean, it's just getting nuts. So, what you can do is you can determine how it is going to manifest for you personally. So, you do that by getting very clear on what it is that you want. And with all of this chaos, what I have been wanting, what I have been focusing on is peace. And I'm here to tell you, I have created that. I have created peace in my reality. So much peace, quite honestly, that sometimes it gets a little boring. But I'm not complaining because who can complain about peace? That is a really I'm really blessed, and that is what I am experiencing in my reality during a time when there is so much turmoil going on around you. So I spent many years, many years working on the cultivation of this internal peace that then has manifested externally for me. So um, that's the task. You've got to get really, really clear on where it is that you stand and how it is that you want to project into the 3D reality as it starts to get even more chaotic and crazy and oppressive. Know that that's all an illusion. That is all an illusion. It has nothing to do with you and how you go forward from this point. How you create the reality that you want is determined by what you are thinking and feeling internally. What you think and what you feel right here, especially in your heart, that is what is going to manifest for you in the external reality. So, always, 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 whenever you're feeling off kilter, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, whenever you're feeling oppressed, go here, get really clear on what it is that you want to manifest externally. Feel that. Feel that those emotions. Feel the emotion. Try first neutrality, which is to feel nothing, to judge nothing, to not attach to anything. And then from that place of neutrality, you can build up higher to higher emotions. So you want to feel happy, you want to feel joy, you want to feel delighted, any of those higher emotions. Um, you start with the baseline of a neutral place of non judgment. And you can go up from there. So that's the work. It is very challenging because 3D is coming at us very densely right now, and it's an illusion. Einstein said. I love Einstein and his quotes. His whole thoughts about everything are really, really deep. Einstein said, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. So when you're trying to get clear internally so that you can change your external reality, it takes a lot of work with your internal self. So that's why you need to meditate, you need to get clear, journal, and get clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you are feeling and what it is that you are thinking about the external reality and how you do or don't want to participate in it. Get really clear on that because that's the work and that's how you change your reality. All right. I'll talk to you later. Remember, energy is everything. Emily, your everyday light worker, signing off.